Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's David Cherry. Today, I want to talk about self-sacrifice versus sustainability as an entrepreneur. And I want to talk about a very common pattern that I see in different companies, in different teams, which is the archetype of the person who self-sacrifices so much that they have unsustainable careers and unsustainable outcomes. And I was in a conversation recently with a client of mine, and we were discussing the opportunity to resolve a major problem in the business. There was a major problem and it needed a resolution. And what I noticed is that the tone of the team started to get very sacrificial, started to get very, all right, it's time to buckle down. It's time to get to work. It's time to roll up my sleeves and sacrifice so that we can resolve this issue. And in that moment, I questioned a bit and asked, how different is this moment than past moments? Is the team already working hard? Is the team working on the right things? It's really easy for people to get into this mindset when there's stress and pressure of something going on. And so we ended up having a conversation about what self-sacrifice really means. When is it the right time to self-sacrifice? And is there a connection between self-sacrifice and success? And that's something that you can ponder a little bit if you find yourself in this mode of self-sacrifice. And what does that look like? It looks like you're always taking on more. It looks like you're always thinking about everyone else's roles, doing your job and doing everyone else's job. It means ignoring the signs that you feel inside of stress, of unhappiness, where previously you've pushed them down to push through and create an outcome. But on some level, you know this isn't sustainable. Self-sacrifice is a really common mode for teams and entrepreneurs who feel like when there's a fire happening, they need to buckle down and get to work and roll up their sleeves and resolve the issue. The caution for you, though, is this common trait that entrepreneurs have to drive towards goals. It's unsustainable. So let's talk about a few drawbacks of self-sacrifice. The first being it creates short-term thinking. When you're self-sacrificing, you're focused just on the immediate fire and putting it out. You're the hero to save this current fire. But in that, you lose perspective of a larger vision through the pursuit of short-term fixes. Number two, you lose a sense of who you are and what you want. When you sacrifice so much for other people, you start giving up a part of you to get the job done. And then suddenly you start wondering, what is it that I actually care about? I gave up so many parts of me that I no longer know what it is that I truly want. What's my longer term vision that I'm really after? Number three, there's always something that you can do to self-sacrifice more. There's always a new issue. There's always a new fire, a problem that needs to be handled. So the more that you get used to using the fire alarm as an incentive for you to drop everything and sacrifice yourself to get something done, the more you begin to rely on that form of incentive and energy. So ultimately, self-sacrifice, unfortunately, is unsustainable. This is where people burn out. This is where people lose track of where they're going in their career. And it drains your reserves to use this so frequently. And I'm reminded about this very interesting idea, which is, who is it that wins the Olympic gold medal in skiing? Yes, it's the person who was the best at competing that day, but beyond that, it was the person who didn't get injured. It's a very interesting idea. Sometimes the people who win are the people who win because of sustainability, not just because of skill set. So winners win sustainably over the long run. And that's why it's important to keep perspective from the way that you're working. Now, ultimately, this self-sacrifice idea, it's a bit of a tone, it's a bit of a vibe, it's an energy that comes on either in you or other people in your team, and it rubs off on other people. So we have to watch and be very vigilant as leaders of organizations to understand, are we in this self-sacrificing culture? And if we are, that's going to create isolation. It's going to prevent long-term thinking. It's going to create this mode of everything always being on fire. If we instead shift into taking responsibility, having choice, having the freedom to lead and solve problems, when we're in that mindset and energy, we create collaboration. Maybe there's a difficult time in your business, and yet that difficult time can bring people together when it's not this mode of self-sacrifice. So one thing you can do is think back to a time where you achieved something without self-sacrifice. Was that possible? Have you ever created something without using that as the mechanism? And I think if you ask yourself that, you'll realize there are times when I've created a lot of success in my life without this way of doing it. And if that's possible, maybe these ideas aren't that linked. Maybe the way of working where it's unsustainable isn't the only way to create success. So yes, there are problems to solve. Yes, there's hard work to be done. And if we can take a more sustainable path of consistently showing up to get there, we can win in the long run, not just in the short run. And we can avoid giving up ourselves in the process. I hope this helps. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave them below. I'd love to hear from you. You can comment, you can subscribe, you can like, all those things. Be back again very soon with more videos like this later.